this from the wishbone old fucks. Want to thank Big T and all the giblets and time we spent on the workbench with the ladies this past year, even though 2020 sucks. Carson Wentz sucks. Not a top 5 quarterback. Might not even have a fucking job next year. Our dicks are big, and next year we're looking for better things and more workbench time. Listen, when you're talking about the workbench, you better be fucking eating ass, licking clit all day, twice on Sunday. Let's fucking go. Ready to roll. Ready to roll. Ready to roll. And listen, Big T. Big T. Keep running pure and Wentz sucks ass.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Rum Pure Sports Hardwood show for some Wednesday night basketball. We have a full 12-game slate, joined by my boys, as always, on Wednesday, Titletown and Big T. And, usually I go to Title first in those, nice-looking, sexy locks, but I'm going to go to my boy Big T. We got a full slate. We haven't had much news. I mean, it's a little weird, strange feeling where I feel like we're going to get pounded with news at some point. But what's your overall thoughts here on the slate?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how we got 2 dislikes and the show hasn't even started yet. I mean, that's hurtful. Starting out, we haven't even given a bad take yet. They haven't had to look at Title's ugly mug yet. I mean, two dislikes that quick. I mean, it's just very hurtful. Can't wait to kick Title's ass. Every time I see that mug, I just picture myself just freaking owning him 21-0. Can't wait to do it. I'm ready to dive into another slate though. It's fun to be back on with you boys.
Yeah, and in terms of the dislikes, hey, if you came in here and hit dislike, okay, that's fine. But at Rum Pure Sports, we're all about like second chances and stuff. So if you hit the dislike, give us the chance to earn that like. Just be open-minded. If you hit it right out of the gate, that's fine. We forgive you. But if you find this to be useful and entertaining, switch it over. You can always switch. Title, what's going on?
Is this going to be one of those days, though? Like once a month or twice a month, we get one of the days where like the random just haters come in and like talk trash. Not like the whatever they're called, the ghost accounts where they just come in and the fake people.
Yeah, it's shaping up to be something like that. So we're gonna have to monitor this chat. And hey, guess what? I mean, if we get a lot of hate, that workbench play, it's always hovering above you guys. So we can always exit out. And the workbench play is a very popular segment of the show. If there's too much hate and too many, the dislikes are piling up now. I mean, you pointed out, it just makes it worse.
That's always the problem with pointing them out.
Yeah, well, you know what? We have we can fire back, and we have a lot of different things we can do here. So I highly recommend, if you hit that dislike, reconsider. But the Title, what's going on? Your thoughts here on the slate?
Yeah, monster 12-game slate. I'm not even going to acknowledge Big T and the basketball thing. The time will come when Title collects the money, collects the 2K, and times will be good. So I'll do all the talking on the court, but nice 12-game slate. I do. We do have to come out and Hoop. I gotta apologize a little bit. Big T definitely has to apologize. Stanley Johnson, man, you really hit that one.
Stanley Steamer.
Stanley Steamer, yeah. Stanley Steamer had a steamer himself. He had a great
game. How much did he finish with?
I actually didn't look after I saw 20 or 21 in the first half or something. I don't even know.
See, now let me tell you something, Title. All right. Big T and Hoop have done shows together for a long, long time. And this same scenario that you just laid out where, Hoop comes on here, lays out a play, the play crushes. Tony bashes it. And when Tony bashes a play, it's not like you just say, oh, that guy sucks and not playing it. I can't imagine clicking that name. Oh, my gosh, he's got to be the worst play on the slate. I'm glad you brought it up because you know what? Every single time this has happened, and it does every
single time this has happened.
And it happens very frequently when myself and Tony are on shows together. He just conveniently forgets that it ever happened. That's why I love having you on the show. You don't let this.
So you don't let this guy off the hook. A good play that you played him, right?
Stanley?
Yeah.
In tournaments. I didn't end up in cash. I had him. He was on my tournament teams, but not in cash.
Yeah, but I got to take a little L too because I was like, no, I can't do it on this big of a slate and stuff. I wasn't calling him no steamer and all this stuff. Like I thought he's a good player. I mean, Arizona and stuff, but no, hey, that was a good call. My call was Justin Holiday, and I did end up actually having him in cash to fit Luka. He had a great first quarter, and then he didn't do anything after that. But it's all about what it gets you.
Yeah.
It got us Luka that night, and you only needed Luka that night to win. So
that's what we always talk about. With those cheap guys, Tony, I'm going to move past the Stanley thing. And that's one point you always bring up, a strong point you always talk about on these shows is, these value plays, it's not necessarily what they do, it's what it gets you. And, if you had any sort of pivot that included Luka and a value dude, and you went that side, you ended up doing pretty well for yourself because the guy went out and got like 80 fantasy points. Big game, and you definitely needed him in tournaments, and if you had him in cash games, wasn't all that highly owned, so if you ended up playing him, you most likely made some money. So it was a good slate. It definitely was a good slate.
Monday, Discord at night, those are the best days. Everyone, all first place. Big T nailed. He didn't like Dwight Howard in tournaments. He had a little snowflake next to his name. We loved Luka. I mentioned LeBron, a little narrative revenge game against Cleveland. He just absolutely went bonkers in the fourth, broke the slate. Plenty of other good plays that we talked about. JSU's core, I know, crushed. So Monday was another one of those days. We need more Jokic against Luka days because every time that's happened so far.
They were both low owned too.
Yeah, 25% in cash for Luka on both sites was very nice. So, but another thing I wanted to bring up too, the news we always talk about. So Gary Trent was announced starting on Monday at night, which changed everything. Like if people didn't see that news, obviously you didn't need him, but you could drop down from someone like Diallo. I ended up going Gary Trent over Diallo. I left 900 on the table because I already had Holiday locked in. But some people that didn't, you could drop, then you were able to upgrade other pieces and all that. That's why it's so important in NBA, especially during these times right now. There is always news and stuff that changes. And Gary Trent, if you got on him, he had a good game, very cheap, got you other stuff. I saw your lineup, you absolutely crushed. You were able to get, you got off Diallo, I imagine. I saw you have Trent, and then it just opened up your whole lineup and you crushed. So I got on Trent myself too. And it's very important to always monitor that news because everything changes. Good plays become great plays or the opposite. So it was a great day on Monday for Discord and RPS chat for sure.
Yeah, and Monday ended up having a like $70,000 day, and it was just because of the late news and what I was able to do. Prior to the news coming out, I was on Diallo and Steph Curry. It was a 3v3 that I ended up swapping. I got on Trent, Luka, and Baisley, who basically all did really well. It was Curry, Diallo, and I want to say like Draymond Green. Was the pivot, but yeah, it allowed me to get Luka and had a really, really nice day. And I know a ton of RPS members had solid days too, but we had it on Sunday too with the Hawks thing, like Trae Young and Capella out. You had to make those pivots, and it's just so important, especially now. Years ago in the NBA, it wasn't necessarily the case. You'd feel a little better if you set your team and you had something to do. Nowadays, man, like you set your team, you have something to do. I'm scared. I'm scared all night because you got to be on top of it. Tony, I mean, you're really good at this game theory stuff. Anything to add to the conversation here?
No, yeah. I mean, the news is just crucial because even the little things like Diallo to Gary Trent, like you guys said, is a big difference because he's just a better basketball player in the same spot. Diallo was one of the better plays all day, but once that value opens a little bit cheaper, I think Trent might have been more. Was Trent more expensive on one of the sites? But
I think DraftKings.
It was flipped. Yeah, like on DK, Trent was like I think 500 or 600. Yeah, 500 or 600 more. But on FanDuel, Trent was $800 cheaper. And what Tidal did is rare though. Most people wouldn't do that. I mean, people get scared to leave money on the table, regardless of the situation. So that was really strong.
He was just a better play. Like if they were the same price, he was better play. So people should do more like Tidal did there, where price doesn't matter ultimately. It's like Hoop said famously on that NFL show. Once the play's lock, you just need the most points. So if a dude's better than the other guy, it doesn't matter what his price is.
Yeah, if you think about it, they priced the night before. They don't know any of the news that's coming out. So that's why the mispricing, like you can leave 1,200 on the table. Not every slate, but when stuff like that happens and you just don't be worried about it. I was the only one that made that switch I saw too with the lineup I had because everyone's just scared to do it. And I'm not saying like they were both projected pretty similar and all that, but just don't be scared of stuff like that. Leave salary, gets you different, and they're still good plays.
I'll tell you what, man, I know really good DFS players who I respect a lot that are just petrified to leave money on the table. And you just, they really are. I mean, they really are. I mean, they will make adjustments in their lineup to get as close to filling out that salary cap. And these are very good DFS players that are just scared as hell to do it. But
it makes even more sense. Like obviously if the slate was starting and we had all the info, you wouldn't need to leave the salary like Tidal did. But later in the night, the salary goes out the window. Like just play the better guys with the pivots. Sometimes you're forced into it too. Like maybe someone got scratched. You have to go down to play someone. Don't worry about it. Just do it.
Salary is, becomes a non-issue at that point when you get the news. So just it's good conversation. I'm glad we kind of opened up talking about that. It's, important stuff to discuss. All right, we got 12 games though, boys. So we got to keep it moving. We need you to hit the like. Let's see, where are we at? Oh, 5 dislikes, but man, I mean, you guys came in strong with the likes, 130. It's something we definitely like to see. So hit the like, hit the subscribe. You can hit the subscribe in the bottom right corner of the video, or a little bit lower. There's a gray box that says subscribe. Hit both those. It goes a long way for us to continue to bring you guys these shows for free, which I think are probably the best free shows in the industry. I'm not biased at all when I say that, but probably the best free show in the industry. So like and subscribe helps us out. We still have that promo going, Workbench 21. It gets you 25% off your first payment at Run Pure Sports. And it's a good time to sign up. I mean, we're going to roll out a ton of content next week for the Super Bowl, kind of still planning everything. We'll have some free shows. We'll have some premium shows. We'll have some free content, some premium content. So a lot of stuff, a lot of reasons to head on over to Run Pure Sports and check us out. After us, we have Holden, JSU, taking you all the way to Lock. That is a premium show. And man, I have a feeling today it's going to be very, very important to be tuning in up to Lock. 12 games, and it's been relatively quiet. So let's hop into this first game.
Our boy Hoop, our boy Chief is in the chat. Oh, I miss our boy Chief.
Chief, man.
The Big T Beast album. I mean, what wasn't Chief on us with that one?
Yeah. That was a good.
We might have to get Chief back on to do like BCD Part 2. Chief, you in with us?
God, that was so good, that show. That was explained to the people quickly, not a long drawn-out version.
Get the boombox out during the show and play a couple tracks from the old Big T's BCD.
So if you're in the age range of Tony and myself, probably mid to low 30s, back in the day, the cool thing to do was to burn CDs. You'd get the songs you like, you burn a CD, and occasionally you'd get a lady to make a CD for you. She'd put her songs on there, and if it works out well, you end up playing that CD. Well, you got them on the workbench. And me and Tony did a show a while back, and go ahead. Talk about it.
I mean, it's the truth too. Sometimes it led to that might have been the original workbench time off of Big T's BCD. It could have been. There was like a love mix with all the soft tracks that you'd bring. I mean, you'd have it all going on. But yeah, so we did a podcast where we listened. I hadn't listened to it before that, But yeah, we listened to the whole soundtrack and broke down each one. Some of them were good, some of them were bad, some of them were embarrassing, but it was a fun little podcast to do.
A lot of fun. Definitely a lot of fun. All right, first game, we got the Pacers, we got the Hornets, 220 total. And we're waiting on news right out of the gate here on Sabonis. He left the game, looked like he probably missed some time. Now they've kind of tagged him as day-to-day, and this is actually massive news, whether he plays or not. If he's out, big boost to a lot of guys, Brogdon, Turner, McDermott, Justin Holiday, Jeremy Lamb, whose minutes have been creeping up. So you got a lot of guys who would come into the conversation if Sabonis is to miss. I kind of think he misses. We will get the news, though. It's the first game right out of the gate here. On the Hornet side, it's kind of the same thing for me. I mean, I hate to be repetitive and talk about it over and over, but like this is a team I'm not really targeting for DFS on full slates. The production's pretty spread out. LaMelo's price has come down. Yeah, you can consider him in tournaments. I probably won't go there. Just not an exciting DFS team. So for me, whether or not I'm on this game hinges on the Sabonis news. If he's out, I have interest in some of these guys. If he's in, this whole game will be a fade for me. Title, what are you seeing in this one here?
Yeah, Sabonis news is huge, like you said. On Charlotte, the only guy I would have interest in is Gordon Hayward, and that's on DraftKings. He's just been playing really well. He's 7,500, and he always gets overlooked because people don't really want to pay that price tag for him. I'm fine going there. It's not the sexiest play. It's probably not the workbench play, but hey, he's shown upside in the past and get you there, and he's going to be lower owned. So he's fine if you want to go the balance build route. Otherwise, I don't really have too much interest. Like you said, Jeremy Lamb sticks out a little bit. I would like him, especially on DraftKings, if Sabonis is ruled out. He's just been playing. FanDuel, he's fine too at shooting guard. He's been playing. His minutes have been playing more and more. His usage rate's pretty good. He's shooting the ball. He's showing aggressive. So I like him a little bit in tournaments if he's out. But yeah, if Sabonis is in, I don't really want to make a case for it. I don't want to lock in the first game and just a 220 total that doesn't stick out. So I'm with you. It depends on Sabonis.
Yeah, our boy Corey Ballmer in the chat says Big T sounds like all he bumps is Bubba Sparks. Man, I used to bump Bubba Sparks. Bubba Sparks, he was a good dude. He didn't last for long, but man, he produced some good content. Tony, talk about Bubba Sparks and then go into this game for me.
Yeah, I mean, we went down this aisle here, and we might need to get another. We might need to do another podcast with the songs from the old school because that was a fun podcast to do. We can even get Title on to see what he thinks of the old man music that we used to listen to. It might help him increase his odds on the bench a little bit with some of those old school tracks. We got.
I don't know who Bubba Starks is. That's for sure. Right?
But yeah, this game all comes down to Sabonis for me. I kind of think he doesn't play. I know a lot of people think he plays. So, I mean, I'm sure it's like 50-50 anyways. I can pretend like I know he gets rolled out. I kind of think he doesn't play, which opens everything up, obviously, from them, especially a guy like Jeremy Lamb that is looking like he's getting more and more run. He played 28 minutes 3 games ago, 33 minutes last game after Sabonis got hurt. Still only like 5K. He's always been a guy I've liked too that can just score the basketball. Looks like a good basketball player. So like him, I mean, this is one of those games that you have to wait for the Sabonis because it's an early game. So we're going to have all the info. I just think you got to wait on it. I don't know if I'll play like Miles Turner's 7,100. I don't ever play him when he's that expensive. I do think he has looked good, though. I mean, he's cracked 40. He's showed some big games, so he's probably in play. But, man, I have a hard time paying that price for him. Brogdon's in play. You guys are trying to distract me here with this good chat going here.
The stuff in the chat's good. Enough with this game. They're getting on. They're getting on Title because he said Bubba Starks. It's Bubba. It's Bubba Sparks. Bubba Sparks with he's got the 3 X's. Like hardcore, the 3 X's at the end. So,
but I do know booty booty booty. I didn't know this was this guy singing the song. So
yeah. The Google.
I didn't know his name.
Yeah, Google will be your friend on that one. It was a big hit. And then our boy Dean pops up in the chat. Said, Big T, can you confirm Big Puns, I'm Not a Player, but I Crush a Lot is on the B CD? Got to be on there.
I honestly don't remember what was on it, but I hope it is.
Yeah, that was. I remember being down in Florida on spring break and just I mean, probably listened to that thing about 1,000 times. When you're high school spring break, you're on cloud nine. You know you're going to get drunk and have a good chance of hooking up with some ladies, and that song really got you going. So yeah, we do it. We got to do that, man. That was fun playing those songs. All right, let's get back on track. We got the Pistons, we got the Cavs, a 215 total. Another game where I don't think there's a ton of appeal from a DFS standpoint. The one guy I do like a little bit, Mason Plumlee, is 4.4K on FanDuel. I think he's in that conversation. A guy that can kind of contribute across the board. DeLon Wright's been playing well. I probably won't go there. Jeremy Grant continues to crush. We talked about it. I haven't clicked on his name one time all season long. Let's see. Okoro. I think he's interesting on the Cavs side, but they are a team overall that, another team I'm not all that excited to play. This game for me, mostly a fade outside of maybe Mason Plumlee.
This is where I make fun of the Okoro play and he goes off and then you say it happens every time?
Yeah, I mean, I'm
making fun of this one too.
No, I threw his name out there as like a mention if you want to play the game. Like I was actually very interested in Stanley Johnson, not as much on Okoro. I just wanted to mention at least one Cavs guy. Go ahead, Tony. What do you got here?
No, I mean, there's not a ton. I mean, these two teams, you got like Drummond, you can always play. Drummond's looked decent fantasy-wise this year, going against a Detroit team that, again, what is this, revenge week where like everyone plays against the teams that they used to kind of be involved with or hate? I mean, he has to have a little bit of bad feelings for Detroit, just how everything ended. They literally just gave him away to Cleveland. That has to register a little bit with him. I mean, and you're just going against a team that doesn't have anybody that can really handle him. So he definitely has to be in play. How much is he on DK? He is
84.
80. Yeah. So he's definitely in play on both sites, 88 and 84. Like him. I mean, Jared Allen's looked pretty good. It's just, they got so many bigs that I don't know. Like, how many minutes is Jared Allen going to play? 23, 22?
There's not a ton to go around. I mean,
yeah. I mean, he played 29 minutes last game. If he plays 29 minutes, he's going to crush too at that price. But I mean, none of these guys. Again, we say this every time we do a show because we're doing the Monday and Wednesday show where we get these bigger slates. And I mean, do you really want to lock in Jared Allen early? It's just tough. So It might be, and we just talked about it Monday, right? With Vooch, like, do we want to lock Vooch? He's a great play. He goes for 60 or whatever he went for. We would have liked to have Vooch. I kind of think Drummond's the same spot tonight where he could get you a 60 ball right out of the gate against Detroit. And believe me, no matter what happens the rest of the slate, you're not going to be mad when he gets in there and gets you 55, 60 points.
Yeah. Title. What are you thinking here in this one?
Yeah, I was going to mention Drummond too on DraftKings. This price stands out. I think that, this isn't like we talk about. Some revenge game narratives are different. I think Drummond doesn't like Detroit. I mean, you have to feel disrespected when you.
Well, guess what? Detroit doesn't like Drummond. How about that?
I think it goes both ways. And if there's a game where Drummond, I mean, if you told me Drummond got 33 minutes today, which I know his minutes haven't been like that, but if he gets a little extra run, him and coach are talking, whatever the case may be, these teams aren't going to the playoffs, but Drummond could absolutely smash this Detroit team. And I think it makes a lot of sense. Good price tag on DraftKings. FanDuel, I couldn't do it. Mason Plumlee on FanDuel, I have interest on him over there. 4,400, like you said, that's just a misprice. They're going to need his size with Drummond, with Allen, because the Cavs play big. So I think that makes a lot of sense, but those are the only two plays I can make a case for.
Yeah, Plumlee, just safe play at that price point. I mean, I think he has a nice floor, and that that's at 4.4K. If he gets you 20 fantasy points, you're probably happy and you're moving on. So I think he's certainly
the problem though. So this is the issue. I'll speak from the tournament side because I'm always a little bit different than you guys. Like I could never center. You only get one. All the good guys are always center.
Yes, this is what we like to hear, folks. Keep it coming. Keep. Come on.
35 piece.
Come on. Keep building it up for us.
Like, oh, God, I could never play Mason Plumlee. I only get one center. I mean, yeah, he gets you 20. Take the 20. I'll give the word. Hoop said it happens every time. Plumlee's one of the better plays, according to the projections. I would never play Plumlee in this spot.
Yes. We gotta add a new segment. We're gonna have
lock him in.
the workbench play of the night, and you're not getting to the workbench play of the night.
That is a good point. Like,
we might have to do both. Producer, we might have to get something going for the next show.
I couldn't even imagine. That's my line. I couldn't even imagine playing Mason Plumlee.
That's been your line for a while. I mean, that's your go-to. And I can't imagine playing that guy. And that typically, when I bring it up, that typically leads to a big night for that player. So if you're watching this,
bring it up tomorrow. You always get lucky though. Tomorrow's probably like a 2-game slate. We won't do a show, and he'll get like 12 tonight, and I won't be able to rub it in.
No. That was on Monday with Stanley Johnson. We didn't have a show
you always
yesterday.
remember
You got off the hook.
when you're on the wrong side.
I didn't remember. I got title remembered because that was an aggressive approach you took with Stanley Johnson. So I mean, it kind of stood out. It was a very key point to the show on Monday.
I saw one of my guys, B Heels, on Twitter too. That's what reminded me. He tagged Big T and he goes Stanley Steamer. So
the people don't let his ass off the hook. He tries letting himself off the hook. The people hold him accountable, and that's what I like. With Big T, that's very important because Big T does not voluntarily come on and offer L's. You got to force it. You got to force it out. Still refusing the Carson Wentz L. It's crazy.
Could happen at some point. Well, if he gets traded and still sucks, I'll get my L.
Yeah,
you guys
they're
got
saying
my
he might come to the Lions. Imagine that.
I mean,
that'd be a disaster.
I hope he doesn't.
That'd be a disaster for both parties.
That way.
All right, we got to do the likes here. We got about 500. Oh man, you guys are pretty good job with the likes, but I think we can do better if you want that workbench play. I mean, I hate to be that guy, and I said I wasn't going to do it, but just blow us away with the likes one time. It would be phenomenal. It's very easy. Just click it. The little thumbs up, just click it. So let's see. We got 500. If we get to 250, we'll give away a piece of gear at the end of the show. And also hit the subscribe button. Helps us out. Helps us continue to bring the show to you guys for free. We got the Kings. We got the Magic. 224 total. Orlando favored by 1.
Is there anything worse than this? Like, so when we all have our Twitter feeds up following the news, is there anything worse in NBA DFS than the news burst for tomorrow's slate? Like, we got a 12-game slate. That has to be outlawed. No news burst for tomorrow, people. Like, ever. Any company. Any company. No news burst for the Thursday slate.
Especially on a slate like tonight where we're sitting like, okay, it's a little bit too quiet. And you just keep hitting that refresh to see what's coming in, and then it's something for tomorrow. I'm not even going to reference it. We can't put any eyes on it.
It's very hurtful when they come across.
Yeah. Yes, it really is. So this game, 220, the Kings Magic 224 total, Magic favored by 1. From a Vegas standpoint, I mean, this is kind of what you want, a pretty high scoring game with a 1-point spread. The Kings, man, it's tough. I don't love their prices on DK, but on FanDuel, a guy like De'Aaron Fox is 7.9, so under 8K. I think he's in play a little bit. Outside of him, not too much standing out on the Kings. On the Magic side, man, like maybe we're not us, but just basketball fans in general are kind of just underrating Vooch. I mean, in terms of fantasy, like he comes out and he'll get you a 40-45 spot basically every single night, and you can almost just lock it in. We talked about him last show. He went out and got basically a 60 burger. Price came up a little bit, but he is just such a steady producer for DFS. Low risk play. Like his bust potential is pretty damn low night in, night out. I think he's a strong play here again tonight. 9.2 on DK, 9.4 on FanDuel. Aaron Gordon, the price finally came down again on FanDuel. He is under 7K, 6.8 on FanDuel. I think he is a strong play over there. But yeah, those are probably like the only 3 guys that I'm really looking at. Title, I'll throw it to you first. What are you thinking here in this game?
Yep. So Vooch for sure. Vooch is always in play, like you said. Yeah. I mean, he just smashes. A little better price tag on DraftKings, but he's fine on both sides. He can absolutely crush the slate. So I like him for sure. On FanDuel, you mentioned Aaron Gordon. He's in play. Cole Anthony, he's more of a cash play if you want it. He's 5K. If it gets you stuff and you land in that range, I'm fine with it. He's playing a little over 30 minutes a game, but he's not a guy I go out of my way to ever roster just because, I mean, like he's so small. It's hard for him to get up his shot. It's hard for him to get all the rebounds. You're relying on him hitting his jump shots and getting assists and stuff. So he's fine for 5K on FanDuel. I wouldn't touch him on DraftKings. you can go to the front court on the Sacramento side with Bagley and Holmes on DraftKings, 6,600 for Holmes, 5,700 for Bagley. And the reason I think you can do that is I don't think people are going to play either of them because it's right in the mid tier, 5,700, 6,600. But they're going to need them to play against Vooch, play against Birch and the size of Orlando. And I mean, I like Bagley for 5,700. I'm always a Bagley person. It's just whether he gets his minutes or not is whether he gets there. So I like Bagley. I like Richaun Holmes a little bit, but I think they're going to be very low owned, 12-game slate. So I'll have a little sprinkle in tournaments. Other than that, it's Vooch, it's Gordon, and then Cole Anthony on FanDuel.
Yep, solid breakdown there, Tony. Anything else kind of standing out to you here from a tournament perspective?
No, I mean, I think the guy is a little bit underrated is Aaron Gordon. I mean, he just hasn't been super high owned. He's playing point guard for the most part a lot on this team. I think he's even eligible at point guard on DraftKings, right? Like he's played a ton of point guard.
Yeah, he's point guard, small forward on DK, and just looking at the recent production, I can't figure out really why FanDuel lowered his price, like under 7K. Like he's been just a steady producer, and it's a good matchup here. And I think he gets a lot of minutes. So yeah, continue on.
Yeah, I mean he's just underpriced. He just for how he's been playing, he deserves to be closer to 8K than 7K. So he's just underpriced. At the power forward that he just fits good at power forward, a lot better than point guard in spots like that. So I think he's a great play. Vooch always. I mean, Title said it last time with these centers. I mean, if you play Drummond and Vooch at the 7 o'clock, I know a lot, like no one's going to do that. And you could legitimately get over 100 points just locked up in the tank right out of the gate on DK by playing both of them. Obviously, FanDuel, you can only play one of them, but Vooch is just a great play always. And I kind of agree with Hoop that with these studs, you don't need as much in the upside department if you're going with certain builds. Like if you just lock in 50, that's solid. Yeah, you might not win first place with a 50 spot from him, but you lock in a solid night when you just get that production just anchored in there and just lock it in there. So I like that. And then the Sacramento side, yeah, I mean, Fox has to be in play against these bad Orlando guards. They don't have guards. I mean, Cole Anthony is a full-blown midget. Like, he is tiny. He can't guard De'Aaron. When did I miss Fox's 77, too? What night was that? He had a 77-point fantasy game?
Yeah.
Was it recently?
It was like two weeks ago, I think.
It was on the 17th. It was, yeah, so it was almost 2 weeks, 10 days. Like, man, that must have been on a Sunday or something. I don't know how I didn't see that. It had to be a Sunday. Was the 17th a Sunday?
Yeah, yep. That's why.
I mean, that 77 piece? Yeah. Whew, I didn't know he had that kind of upside in him. Richaun Holmes, I mean, he's 7,600 on FanDuel. That's insane. 6,600 on DK. Every time I've played Holmes this year, he's completely laid a stinker. He's got to be one of the most up and down people in the industry almost as far as his upside and downside. 6,600 on DK is okay, but I at center, I'm more strict at center just because it's so loaded. Like I have a hard time taking risk at center. I'll take risk at other positions. I'll lock in the upside guys at center. I don't know about Holmes.
I just like for Holmes, his minutes, 37 minutes, 35 minutes, 42 minutes, 30, 34, 35. They're finally starting to open him up because in the beginning of the year, I agree. That's what caught my eye was like they're finally letting him go because when we were playing him, it seemed like, he was starting great spot and he only got like 18 minutes in foul trouble, 25 minutes. And then it was like, all right. But yeah, I mean, it seems like they got a new role for him, but who knows? Vooch could get him in foul trouble in the beginning of the game and then he's screwed. So it's something to monitor.
Anything else in this one, boys?
We got Larry Nance officially out. That's even better for Drummond.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a boost to him. Yeah, Nance ruled out with the wrist injury.
Dragic.
Yeah,
it makes Jared Allen. I spoke on Jared Allen for a minute. That's just a tournament play, but man, if he gets 29 minutes like last game, Jared Allen could smash that price point, and he's going to be literally unowned. That's just a tournament play. Like he could. Who knows? What if Drummond gets in foul trouble Jarrett Allen could literally get you 50s, and it's just a good play in tournaments, I think. It's not a cash play at all, but in tournaments.
Yeah, and they're willing to play two bigs a little bit too if they have to.
Well, they have to when they trade for all bigs.
Yeah, exactly. And with Nance out, that increases the chances of that happening tonight. So I definitely don't hate that for tournaments. Got the Bucks. We got the Raptors, 228 total. Milwaukee is favored by 7 in this game. And obviously a lot of good pieces here for DFS. On the Raptors side, we need to find out what's going on with Siakam and OG. Both are questionable. Hard to break down this side of the ball with both those guys questionable. I mean, if OG's out, if Siakam's out, obviously we'd get Powell would probably start, get a big boost. Boucher, Stanley Steamer. Can I throw out the steamer again?
No.
The price is it up? Let's see. He's
Is it up?
I gotta see after that monster.
Yeah, I just pulled him up. I honestly didn't know. He got 25. You guys were acting like he got 40.
He didn't do anything in the second half, but yeah, he crushed value.
8x. We'll take it and move on.
8x what? He was 3K? He was
3.5. He was 3.5. It's close to like 7.8x or something. That's good. I mean, I'm rounding up. I get to round up because you didn't take the L. On the Bucks side, I think there's some plays here. I mean, I think this ends up being a good game. It's two solid teams. I like playing Bucks in games that you can kind of see being competitive. DiVincenzo continues to be pretty cheap on FanDuel at 4-4. I think he's a fine option if you want to save some salary there. Giannis, I mean, not a big price tag really. I mean, 10-7 on DK. That's pretty friendly. I don't mind that, especially if we get like some more value that opens up. Brook Lopez, pretty cheap. But you got to wait on the Toronto side. We have to see what happens with OG and Siakam to really, figure out who's in play, who's not in play. On the Bucks side, I like Giannis on DK, DiVincenzo on FanDuel. Most likely it. Tony, I'm going to throw it to you first. What's your breakdown of this game?
So earlier in the show, just because I like to interact with the chat, I was going to give everyone credit because Boban the other night, the workbench play, gets in the first quarter, 3 minutes, doesn't do anything, completely busts. I had like no hate from anybody, which is rare. People love hating on stuff like that. So maybe I was gonna give everyone credit, like, the followers are much more educated now. Honestly, like it was a 1% play that no one had that wasn't projected. Like it wasn't a lock, and but finally, as you were talking, someone went in there and said the Boban play was bad. Why was it bad? He was 1% owned. No one played him. Yeah, he didn't get there. So if we're gonna be results oriented, it was bad. I still don't mind it. If he went in and did well, he would have got more around. He just didn't do well when he was in there. Jokic embarrassed him on the first drive. It happened. Yeah, whatever. I'm never going to be mad about a 1% play ever. So if you think it was bad, then it was bad.
He got in at the 7-minute mark, like 5 minutes into the game, and I was like, here comes the blow up, because he always blows up when he's when he's getting run. But yeah, that was the one game he didn't get there in the first couple minutes.
Just and they carved him like right away, which hurt. Like he made him look really bad. It was what it was. I mean,
if you played him, you knew the risk was zero. Yeah. Like the downside, he was I saw 0.5% in lineups people were sending in the Discord. So, I mean, if you're getting yourself into a guy with 0 minute, but like a floor, he literally could not touch the floor, and you wouldn't be surprised. And you can't complain. You know what you're getting yourself into, unless you literally don't watch basketball at all.
Yeah. I mean, if you played him, he wasn't projected on any site. No. You only played him because of what we were saying. I played him on both of my main teams. I still did decent that night because of Jokic and Luka, but yeah, it was what it was. I'll take my chances with that play every time. It probably won't work out 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 anyways. That's part of tournaments. You want cash play, listen to these two, print the cash sheet on the website, go with that. It is what it is. But back to this game, this is a game, unless we got guys out, which even if Pascal's out, the other day, like Boucher, our boy Boucher kind of just cooled off a little bit.
Yeah, what's happened? Like he was on a freaking heater.
He hasn't made any shots is one thing.
Yeah, you see that.
Missing a lot of shots.
29 last game, which was fine. Yeah. Then 21, 19, 22, 27. I don't know what they're doing.
And Milwaukee's no, you can say a lot about Milwaukee. They're always going to defend you. I mean, they're going to make you work. I have a hard time with Toronto unless two guys are out. Like if OG's out and Pascal's out, then I can play some of these guys. Not Stanley Steamer, but a few of these other guys. Milwaukee on a 12-game slate. If no one's out for Milwaukee, I can't see myself ever playing a Milwaukee guy. They play a ton of people. They spread the ball around. They play good team ball. Yeah, you can play Giannis any slate. It's fine. But not for me on a 12-game slate.
Title, this is your squad, the Bucks. It seems like every time we're on here, we got the Bucks. And it's not an overly exciting spot. I mean, like I said, if we get a lot of news and we can get up to Giannis with ease, I would be excited about it. I mean, but, on this slate, the way it currently stands, I don't know if we can necessarily get there. Break down this Bucks side and then, the potential news on the Raptors side.
Yeah, Giannis is one of my favorite spend ups on DraftKings. If the value opens up, we have so much injury news we're waiting on. So it could be a stars and scrubs night for sure. And Giannis just becomes very popular because you just have the money, and 10-7 feels too cheap, a little too cheap in this matchup. If you don't have the money, it's not like a play I'm just going to jam in and then get a couple uncomfortable spots in my lineup just to get Giannis today. He's not in that much of a smash spot, but I think 10-7 is a little too cheap. Toronto, Milwaukee, they've had the pass. I mean, two of the top teams in the East. I know now the Nets and stuff, but Toronto's been in the conversation. So I think these guys play well against each other and it stays closer, which is always what you look for with Giannis. Kyle Lowry on DraftKings stands out at 7,500 and I think becomes a smash play if Siakam misses and especially if OG misses. And Boucher, I'm going to have a little interest in Boucher. I have a little interest right now. If Siakam's out, I'm going to have a lot of interest because they need his length against Giannis today, against Brook today, Bobby Portis. They're really going to – I think this is a game where he can play 30-plus minutes. Even if Siakam's in, he still could get 30 minutes. And if he's out, I think he has a lot – 33, could even get 34. And if he gets those minutes, Boucher's a good player. He can shoot. Gets a lot of stocks on FanDuel, which I always like him a little more over there. So big news with Siakam, big news with OG. We should get this news, I would think, before lock. It'll probably be pretty close, but something to monitor. Otherwise, it's just Giannis on the Bucks for me.
Yeah, just a nice comment from the chat. Our boy Brandon McNair said he time to flip the Jaime Soccer Bucks. Jaime is a guy that runs our soccer content here. Does a phenomenal job at Run Pure Sports. Hits up on every slate. Like he has content on for every soccer slate. Does a really good job. So this Brandon wants some money playing soccer. He said RPS the best at every sport. You know what? I actually agree with you on that one. I think we are the best at every sport. So Brandon, if you don't have gear yet, I'm going to give you a piece of gear, bud. Either send a message to Tony or info at Run Pure Sports, and we'll get something shipped out to you if you don't have anything Run Pure Sports yet. Speaking of that, Tony, can you talk to the people about the new addition coming to the website here pretty soon when we roll things over to a new layout?
I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. What am I supposed the new
in regards to the gear?
Oh, the gear, yeah. So we're gonna have all the gear up. We're gonna have tons of gear up to officially get what you want on the new site. Within the next probably week, we're gonna have the whole site transition over to look much better too. Like we opened this thing. I mean, we're still not even a year old, and some of the site is just trash, to be honest. Like it just was older based. A lot of it's gonna look a lot nicer now, and there'll be some gear up there to order where it'll ship straight to you, nice and easy. Should be awesome. I'm excited for it.
Yeah. So that should be coming out. Sorry to kind of leave you hanging. I guess I should have specified what I
didn't know what you were wanting me to say.
What I was looking for. Apologies, but it should be on the site here pretty soon. So that will give you guys an opportunity to get your own gear if you want it. But we're going to continue to give some out for free. Love hearing those comments from our members. So let's.
How good is it that while we're on this show, Hoops Detroit squad hires Anthony Lynn to be the OC. I mean, that is just such good stuff.
Now you know why I haven't been a Lions fan for at least 10 years. I mean, I could not care less. It's literally I root against them every single week. It's like heartbreaking, man. As a kid, I'd wake up every Sunday, and that I can still remember laying on the couch. How much longer till the Lions start? How much longer till the Lions start? I want to watch the Lions. Watch it every week. And then once you start getting a little bit older, you notice a trend, and you're like, okay, I'm waking up watching the Lions, and well, they lose every week, and it's really disappointing, especially as a kid. So I gave up on that squad a long time. That is just so ironic, though, that the coach that probably was the worst head coach. I mean, there's some bad ones actually, and some are getting exposed in the playoffs. But overall, he's probably the worst head coach in football last season. And now he finds his way to the Lions, the saddest organization in the NFL. So I guess it kind of makes sense. All right, let's see. What do we got here? We got a lot of games left. So, before we move on to the next, hit that like button, hit the subscribe. You guys are almost at that 250. Get us up to 350 and see what happens. We're going to have a ton of content, like I said, next week for the Super Bowl. So you're definitely going to want to head on over to Run Pure Sports, check it all out. Workbench 21 gets you 25% off your first payment on the website. All right, what do we got next? So we got the Nuggets. We got the Heat, 219.5 total. Denver favored by 6, and this is a game we need news. We got Dragic out, but there is no indication on whether or not Tyler Hero is going to play, and that's really, really big news because if he's out as well, this could be a pretty thin team. Could look to guys like maybe Nunn. Is Gabe Vincent still in the mix? Gabe Vincent. They need all those guys if Hero's out. Hero, however, on FanDuel, he's only 6.1K. He might be in play over there. On the Nuggets side, you know what you're getting. I mean, they've run a pretty steady rotation as of late. Jokic is 10-5 on DK, 11 something on 11 something on FanDuel. So you kind of know what you're getting with the Nuggets. Tony, this is your squad. I'm going to throw it to you first. What are you thinking here in this game?
So before anything, we just got this news: Garland, no minutes limit. I mean, 4,600 on DK against Detroit. How do we not play him?
He's definitely
that was the guy. That's who I meant to mention. I said Okoro when we got where. Oh no.
Much better when you say Garland.
Yeah. No. I meant.
That's like the difference. That's like the difference between saying Big T and title on the court. Like, can't do
I'm
that.
Garland.
I don't know what
Garland,
the hell I was looking at. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh crap! I meant to say Garland, and their names are nowhere. I don't even know what I was looking at, but I meant to say Garland, not Okoro. Continue, Tony.
I mean, 4,600 like that is very cheap against
Nance
Detroit.
Out too. Nance is out.
Yeah, I like that. But back to the Denver game. I mean, we always talk about it. Denver plays down to the competition. We need to pay attention to all this Miami news. But man, you got a lot of guys that are going to be in play in this game. I think just because the way Denver plays, they don't play great defense. They play close games. A lot of these guys, like Nunn. I mean, I like these Dragic, Nunn. They just should be able to get to the rim and kind of create. And they just don't have guys that can do that for Miami. They just
Dragic is out, by the way.
Oh, he's officially out?
Yeah.
So that makes me like Nunn even more, though, just because he gets that role even more secure. Basically, I like the Heat, and I don't think the Heat are going to be super owned. I don't love Bam, but he does match up good with Jokic, where the athletic guys always give Jokic troubles. Jokic will do good on him too, but they could go back and forth a little bit. I like this game a little bit more than the field will.
Yeah, title. What are you thinking here in this one? And talk about that Heat news and Tyler Hero. I know he's only like 6'1" on FanDuel. Break this one down for me.
Yeah, so I'm actually not as high on this game as it sounds like Big T is. Bam I have the most interest in on the Heat, and on DraftKings he's 8,600. His price didn't move. They're going to need him to play as many minutes as he can against his front court against Jokic. Foul trouble is definitely in the realm of possibilities, though. So anytime Bam is a chalkier option on the slate, I'm fine fading in tournaments because he definitely has a floor. So that's kind of how I'm approaching it. Jokic on DraftKings makes a ton of sense, too. He's only 10-5. I personally prefer Giannis, I think, today. It's a coin flip, though. And I prefer Giannis more so because he has power forward eligibility where Jokic is just center, and I like center position. But those are the two guys I mainly have interest. Tyler Hero, he's still questionable. So even if he does come back, I have a little concern about maybe they limit his minutes a little more. 6,100 on a 12-game slate. I think we can find a little better plays. If we get news that he's a full go and all that, which I doubt we get any of that news, then he's fine. But to be honest, I don't have as much interest as I thought because they've done pretty decent pricing these guys up. but it's Bam, it's Jokic, and that's pretty much it in this game. It's not the best total. I see 106 implied total for the Heat. So I'm going to go to other games and pick my spots there.
Yeah,
it's yet another slate, though, where we're going to get Jokic 2% owned. Like, no one is going to play Jokic on this slate. It happens every slate. It's crazy. Has Jokic, outside of like a 2 or 3 game slate, on a normal slate, has he ever been above like 20% ever?
Well, it seems like the slates, especially on FanDuel, the slates that he's on, there's been like extreme value at center. And it really seems like that's been the case more often than not. So his ownership comes way, way down. And the sites have done a good job of getting him priced correctly. I mean, a lot of times we see it lingers. They recognize pretty early that, he's one of the top fantasy guys. And they did get his salary up. So I really think that, that has lowered his ownership overall on the season, right?
I love it. Like, I hope he stays priced like this because, I mean, like tonight, I know for sure if I play him on FanDuel, he's going to be less than 5% owned. That is just amazing to me, especially if you're playing 150 teams because you can get way above the field by going 30% or something. Like I set it at 30% Jokic. I am way above the field, which is all I want. I don't need to go 100% Jokic because he's not going to be owned.
Yeah, it makes sense. It definitely makes sense. We're talking about the totals. Title, you mentioned that, kind of not a massive total last game. Well, this next one has a big boy total, and that's the Nets. It's the Hawks, 238 total. And that's favored by 6.5 in this game. Obviously, going up against the Hawks it's a good spot. But it's the same thing we talked about last time here with the Nets. I mean, so many mouths to feed. Kyrie, Harden, Durant. Prices are still, I think, at an uncomfortable level when all three are playing. I'm going to continue to be off these guys. And I know, Title, we talked about it. A lot of people got on Harden. I believe it was, on Monday night. And at shooting guard, I just don't think people are projecting him properly at this point. Yes, he's going to have some big games. I mean, there's no doubt about it. He's going to have some big games this season, but I don't think people have adjusted for the new situation with the Nets. On the Hawks side, waiting on a little bit of news on whether or not Reddish plays. He was out yesterday. I assume he's out again today. But, man, you look at these price tags of the Hawks, especially on DK, like they are priced out of play for me. They're priced way, way up there. I'll be off these guys. Prices are a little bit better on FanDuel, so I think you can look at them on FanDuel. But on DK, I can't pay this price tag. It's a rare situation where you have a 238 total, but, I don't have much interest. Title, I'm going to go to you first. What are your overall thoughts on this game?
On FanDuel, the only interest I have is Kevin Huerter. He's 4,800 shooting guard. I'm fine with it. He's a good player. He's better than decent. He's a good player, can shoot the ball, get some other stats. So if you land there 4,800, I'm fine in this massive team total or over under game. But yeah, I was shocked. I shouldn't say shocked, but so many people went Harden, and this is where it comes where I know all three of us, we watch the games. Obviously you look at projections and stuff too, but like I mentioned on the show on Monday, Harden's usage was like 22, 20, and 24 in the last 3 games. You can tell that he's trying to be a good teammate, trying to get his teammates involved, which is just making him a worse player because he's not as aggressive. He's not shooting as much. And 9,800, I know you look at it, 9,800 for Harden, that's way too cheap. It's not too cheap for his role on this team at all yet. So I'm off that. On FanDuel, I'm off all the guys. On DraftKings, if I had to pick one, I'd probably go with Kyrie just because he's 8,800. He's still playing 35 plus minutes a game, but on a 12-game slate, there's probably options I'm going to go to, but he's fine if you want him. Only Hawks guy on DraftKings I can make a case for is Trae Young at 9,200. But again, there's better plays on a 12-game slate. I'd try and get Jokic and find the 1,000. I'd try to get Giannis and find the 1,500 and go like that. So this game, like you said, it's weird. 230 total. We want pieces in it, but they did a good job pricing them. So it's not going to be a game I have a lot of interest in. However, in tournaments, maybe since it's going to be lower owned in a massive total, maybe you can get different there. But I know the price tags are tough, so I'll be curious to see what Big T says about this game.
Speaking of tournaments, we have one of the best tournament players in the industry, Mr. Big T. I mean, you like yourself some big totals, and there's none bigger on the slate. What's your interest level here in this Nets Hawks game?
Yeah, I mean, definitely nobody from Brooklyn. I mean, outside of a game stack, I don't see how you could play play them. And I really don't even see it then. I mean, they're going to spread the ball around. They're too expensive. They all need to be cheaper. And then on the Atlanta side, I was kind of thinking the opposite is like on FanDuel, these guys, Capella and Trae Young are like super expensive to where you can't play them. They're a little less on DK. And then the cheaper guys, obviously DeAndre and Horder, are more expensive on DK than FanDuel.
Yeah. Those
they
guys
look better. But I mean, yesterday I played Horder. God, he was painful to watch. Like, he just doesn't do anything. He hurt my feet. He got like really hot in the second half to get 20 points. Like, he had to work yesterday to get the 20.
Yeah.
He disappointed me, so I don't know if I can come back with him. And I mean, Brooklyn just played a game where they didn't score any points. Like, it was whatever the final was, 95 to 80 or whatever the score was. I don't remember. It was super low scoring. I like this massive total. You can look at the bet side. I'm going to put the under up on there. I'm betting the under tonight. The way they're playing right now isn't as crazy offensively as the total reflects.
Yeah.
I like the under a lot in this spot, and I don't like this game at all for DFS.
Yeah, it's a weird situation. We see these big totals, and typically we like to get on them, but you gotta look into the teams a little bit. And the situation, like with the Nets, man, we thought they'd run and gun, scoring a ton of points. It seems like there's like a lot of hesitation, and they just don't have a flow right now. So I don't know. It's not the greatest of games. If Reddish is out, I think you can obviously look at the Herder on FanDuel, like Title said. Maybe DeAndre Hunter. He's been playing well, but I'm going to be off this game for the most part. Next game, Lakers, 76ers, 222.5 total. Lakers favored by 4.5. And I mean, we've all kind of had the same mindset with this Lakers team. And, last game, LeBron had a big performance. Maybe it was the narrative going back to Cleveland. Maybe that played a role. But for the most part, this season, kind of been coasting, and this team has been coasting. And I'm going to say it again, like, I need injuries before I'm playing the Lakers guys. Not necessarily injuries, maybe guys sitting out. On the 76ers, they're in that category too. I'm not going to be playing 76ers guys in cash games or tournaments unless there's somebody out. As of right now, everyone in this game is good to go. I think this is a good catch-up game. This is a game I'm going to be off of in all formats. Tony, what's your take on this one?
Yeah, I agree. Catch-up game.
Title.
I'm with you.
Perfect. All right. No more needs to be said. We have the Celtics. We have the Spurs. 223.5 total. Boston favored by 4. Hey, I hate to be repetitive, but with the Spurs, we've been talking about the Spurs team all season long, and we kind of all had the same mindset on this. Like, same situation. I need some guys to be out before I'm going to play Spurs. We talked about it on Monday. They're getting a lot of guys minutes, all the way down to a dude like Pirtle. They want Pirtle to play. LaMarcus Aldridge has had some low floor performances. We have a full 12-game slate. We did talk about DeJounte Murray last game. Price came up a little bit. He's 6'6" on DK. Maybe a little interest there. On the Celtics side, Kemba Walker will be back in there tonight. They're getting close to full strength here. And once again, this is a team I'm going to be off of the Celtics as well. Not seeing much here that I like for DFS overall in this game. Title, is there anything that stands out to you?
So on FanDuel, the only guy I have interest in, just like on Monday, Lonnie Walker, he's still 4K. He saw 30 minutes last game. He had 16 points, 3 steals. He crushed value, and he was like 3% owned. I think he's fine at 4K too. He's just an active player. He gets some stocks, freak athlete. So that's the only guy on FanDuel I have interest in. DraftKings is really wanting us to play DeMar and DeJounte Murray. Like, DeRozan's only 7,100 and DeJounte's 66. So you can make a case. I know tournaments. I know Big T's going to be off DeRozan. That's another guy that just isn't a workbench play. He rarely hits that massive ceiling, but 7,100, it's more of a cash play, feels too cheap. And then Kemba Walker, 6,300 on DraftKings. He had 28 minutes 2 games ago, only 23 minutes last game, but he had 40. He's been going off. He's been just scoring the ball at will, getting other stats. So he looks to be back in rhythm. 6,300 though. Tatum's back in the mix. I think it's fine. I think that price is good if you want to go with the balance build, but he's not going to be a core play for me.
Do you prefer Kemba or Conley straight up? They're priced about 200 apart on DK.
Ooh. I think it's Conley for cash and then Kemba for tournaments because I expect Conley to be a lot more owned with Mitchell out.
I like that call. Tony, what do you got here in the Celtics Spurs game for us?
Yeah, I got nothing here really too. I mean, I like the Lonnie Walker call just like Monday. 4K is too cheap. Floor play for me. I don't think he has crazy ceiling. These teams are just getting healthy where both teams are 10, 11, 12 deep, it feels like. I definitely can't play Kemba over a guy like Conley. I just think Conley's just a way better play.
It's kind of similar to the other night when we were on the show. Like the good games are coming up. Like most of the good games here are the final games, and we'll have a lot to say. But I mean, for me, like these games that we kind of just hit on. I mean, you got a 12-game slate. And we always talk about it. You got to be willing to just cross them off and move on. And
the best thing we do, honestly, I think, too, is where you just got to cross some of these out. If you try to get exposure to every little spot, you're just going to hurt yourself. I mean, you just can't do that. You have to, I mean, sure, you might, that's why whenever it gets to the end of the night, you see who wins the like massive field tournament. They'll have a guy from like this game, like Daniel Thies or something, where maybe to get all the way to the top, you need some random play in here, but just to have a good solid team and make money, you got to eliminate a lot of these spots.
Yep. All right, we got 4 more games, and they're pretty solid games overall from a fantasy perspective. But before we get to them, I just want to talk about the partnership we have with Monkey Knife Fight. If you head on over to Monkey Knife Fight and plug in that code RUNPEER at checkout, you get a $50 match on your deposit. In coordination with this promo, we have a Discord channel fully devoted to Monkey Knife Fight picks and plays. Titletown, Holden do a show twice a week talking about Monkey Knife Fight plays. So head on over to runpeersports.com, check out this partnership that we have. It's a good deal. $50 match. We have content that goes along with it. So head on over to Monkey Knife Fight, check that out. All right, 4 more games to go. And the next one is a good one. We have the Wizards. We have the Pelicans, 226.5 total. Pelicans are favored by 8. Most of that is due to the thin nature of the Wizards. No Russell Westbrook tonight. They're already without a plethora of guys. Bradley Beal will be one of the highest owned guys on the slate. He will be out there just absolutely chucking the ball. You have guys like Raul Neto, who should get some more run. Jerome Robinson has been playing pretty well. Garrison Matthews. This Anthony Gill guy is the minimum price on DK. He's going to play. I believe he had a pretty decent what did he do for us last night? Yeah, played 22 minutes, got 16 fantasy points. That was with Westbrook in. Westbrook's obviously out tonight, so he'll get another boost. A lot of good plays here. A lot of different ways to go. Beal is going to be the most popular by far. On the Pelican side, they're kind of rounding into full strength here. I mean, their team is mostly back, but it's a really good matchup here against the Wizards, who don't play basically any defense at all. Brandon Ingram, I believe it was you, Tony, that kind of pulled up his game log last time out, and he just hasn't done anything.
I love that he's going to be chalked tonight after it.
He's going to be chalked too, and I mean, I think it's a really strong point. I mean, you look at the production; he hasn't hit 40 fantasy points in 6 games. And,
he hasn't sniffed it. He's not even close to it.
Yeah, and he's going to be very popular tonight because of this matchup, and the price is finally starting to adjust a little bit. Talk to me about him and some of these Wizards guys.
Yeah, I think he's a really good fade in tournaments because he's going to be super popular because of his price and the matchup. This game could easily last night, Washington, Bradley Beal's crying on the bench, like weeping, like a little girl on the bench. Afterwards, just embarrassing. And now they play a back-to-back versus a team that is pretty solid in New Orleans. This is a blowout spot if I've ever seen one. And on top of it, these guys are going to be high-owned. They have a lot of guys is the problem. So with Zion, we talked about his ceiling. It's because Steven Adams is in there. Ingram, I mean, you still got Lonzo Ball, Bledsoe, Hart, Redick. I mean, these guys all shoot the ball and do different things. I just don't see it. Like, I hope everyone plays Ingram. He's a good play. Let me be clear. Again, the people that haven't watched all of our shows, he's going to be popular for a reason tonight. He's going to be in a lot of cash games. I understand it. I completely get it. I also think he's a very good tournament fade. I will not have him tonight. I can almost guarantee you. Except for maybe in my 150, I'll put him in there a little bit just because if he goes off, I want to have some. But on my main team, I'm just not going to play him. He hasn't shown it to me. So I don't like it. And honestly, I'm going to fade Beal too. So I'm more of a fade on this game. Beal is going to be – both of these guys could easily come in 50% owned. And I honestly don't like either one of them, as crazy as that sounds. So I'm more on the tournament side. I'll let you guys talk about why they're unfadeable plays.
Yeah, so in cash games, obviously, Beal, like I said, going to be very popular, massive usage. On the Pelican side, Brandon Ingram, I don't know how owned he'll be on DK, but on FanDuel, he's like mid-7 price range. Will have high ownership there. I think Zion will have high ownership as well. Steven Adams. This is a game for cash games that people are going to be all over. Title, give us your breakdown here.
Yeah, so FanDuel, the first thing that sticks out is Jerome Robinson's only 3,600.
Yeah.
I don't know what the site was doing there. I mean, 2 games ago when he got the spot start, he just absolutely crushed. So he's a good player. He's way too cheap. It's pretty hard to ignore. There's Neto too on FanDuel. That's a good price, but I'd much rather go Jerome Robinson. I like Bradley Beal a lot. I always like Bradley Beal, and now without Westbrook, I'm going to eat the chalk. I just think he's a great play. Yesterday, I love Bradley Beal as a player. He wears emotion on his sleeve. Obviously, crying on the bench can be taken different ways, but the guy wants to win. I want to see him go to a good team and compete, but I love Bradley Beal tonight, but a lot of people do, so that's not a conviction play or any of that. On DraftKings, you got the Anthony Gill guy at min price, 3K. I definitely would not play him in tournaments. He's one of those exercise guys. He's out there running around, grabbing.
He's an
rebound.
Okoro.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, except at least Gill crashes the boards a little bit, gets some rebounds, but yeah, he's 3K, so he makes your lineup work. Maybe he's cash play. Like we say, it's what it gets you, but in tournaments on a 12-game slate, I couldn't do it. Neto on DraftKings to 4,300. I wanted to ask about Cassius Winston. So he's 3,100. We haven't seen him play too much. He hardly got in last game, but he got, I think, like 22 minutes 2 games ago with Westbrook out. He's 3,100. Nobody's going to play him. And I would rather go him in tournaments than I would like Gill. So do you have any interest, Big T, there? And because obviously don't play him in cash, but we know Cassius Winston in college. He's a hooper.
Yeah.
Good. I mean, he sees the floor well. And if he gets 25 minutes at 3.1K, and I'll take him over Gill any day in tournaments.
Yeah, it seems like a Big T play. You on him at all, Tony?
He gets the blowout run too, I'm sure too. So you could back into it as well. I will never ever basically talk you out of a guy that's 3-1 and super talented. It's similar to the Boban in a different way. I mean, it's different play completely, but you have a 0 floor, like he could easily not get you anything. Or he could catch an extended run. I mean, he can even start. Like, there's definitely a scenario where he gets that spot start. So, yeah, I like it. He definitely needs to be in your player pool. Again, like Title said, I don't think he would ever make my main team. But, yeah I think he should be in there. I mean, he could easily catch a tournament-winning upside game.
Yeah,
I don't know. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
I was just gonna say he's gonna be 1% or probably lower than that. So it's not hard to get overweight on a 1% guy. You have 4%, 5% of your team, and that's only a couple lineups, and you're already way over the field. So it's not hard to get.
I'm not sure which talking point this was in reference to, but our boy Darth Anger, Big T. I thought you were trying to get to the workbench. Sounds like you're okay with the kiss in the parking lot. Tony, I guarantee back in the day, Tony was a parking lot kisser. I guarantee it.
No, I was the guy dry humping in the back seat of my friend's car. What do you mean?
I don't know what play that was in reference to, but the statement was.
What is he talking about? I mean, I was very big on the dry humping in high school. I mean, that was where it was at. It was very acceptable then.
Yeah, you paid the. I mean,
you're not just going. I don't care. All the tough guys out there. In high school, you're not just going to the bench. The bench is a grown man thing. Like in high school.
I'll tell you what, though. I'm with you on the dry humping stuff, but man, you paid the price the next day. That skin, that skin does not. That movement on the skin is just not good for you. You paid the price. That hurt.
You got to have softer undies. I mean, sometimes you got to go with the soft undies to help the traction.
Yeah, the traction, man. The traction takes a toll on the skin, and you typically paid the price the next day. But I'm with you, man. Everyone talks a big game. I was banging, a different chick every night. No, you weren't, man.
Not in high school, you weren't.
No.
I mean, you got some action maybe, but not the bench. I mean, The bench was a rare occasion in high school.
Yeah, I mean, Title.
How's it these days? Title was in high school.
Title. When did you graduate this year? Are we having a Run Pure Sports graduation party for you?
2016, but I'll say hitting the bench definitely became easier, I think, as the years went on. But I mean, that's like a junior senior year stuff. That ain't when people are saying So I mean, it's probably a little more than 30 years ago or 20 years ago. But hey, it's still tough to get. It's an accomplishment when you get there in high school.
Oh, some of these comments are just.
This is a good day with chat and stuff. See, this is what we like. Chat's rolling. This is good mojo.
Trails in the drawers. Oh God.
Levi's burnout. I wrecked a load of boxers. This stuff is so good. I can't.
West Coast said you went to high school before Instagram. These kids don't workbench for sure now.
Instagram definitely, I think, changed some stuff.
I'll tell you what. I mean, the girls nowadays.
Dry humping was nut in the drawers.
Yeah,
I'm dying.
Yeah, your mom was doing a lot of laundry in those days. That's for sure.
Chat's got me dying.
I'll tell you what, though, the way these girls dress nowadays, it looks like they're ready for the workbench. It's a tough scene, and I know, Tony, you have a daughter. I do as well. I don't want to be one of those tough dads that says like, oh, not my daughter. I'll tell you right now, not my daughter. Like, not leaving the house like that. I will guarantee you that. There'll be a measuring stick at the door. No, you're going down to the knees. You're not keeping it up there. I mean, there's just no damn way.
I can't. This chat is too good. Holden said Title's a virgin.
Oh, don't even get me started, Holden. I know a lot of. No, Holden.
Oh,
your rookies, no drawers and sweats is the right combo. All right, so we got the dry humping combo. If you're a young buck and you're not on the workbench yet, you go with the sweatpants and no undies. Prevents injuries.
That's pretty much me every day. Not gonna lie. It's
we just lost K Phallic. He said he's out. He said he's done.
He gets a little sensitive about the dramatic comments like we got. It's all right, K Phallic. Just hit the mute button for a minute.
Oh, good stuff. All right, we
Nick
got like
Butler's Title is definitely a virgin.
Yeah, these people thought.
Okay.
This good
hit
stuff.
the light. All right, we got 3 games. All right, listen, we're gonna do rapid fire here. We have 3 games. We have the workbench play, and we have titles play, which I already have a name for, which will be revealed at the end. Let's get into it. Thunder Suns. Al Horford is going to play. I mean, not a huge change to this slate, what we're thinking. But the big news here, Devin Booker's out. Big boost to obviously Chris Paul, Bridges, Cam Johnson. I want to keep talking about Stanley. I want to keep talking about my boy Stanley. Cam Johnson, Aiton, big boost to all those guys. Big T, throw it to you first. Break this one down quickly.
Yeah, I mean, the prices, you got some really cheap prices on FanDuel, especially. I mean, Cam Johnson, 46, Bridges, 54. Chris Paul's look good, 74. Everyone looks good for the most part. OKC doesn't play any D. If this game stays close, these guys have a good chance to crush. And you look at the OKC side, it's a little tougher, but man, Baisley still looks too cheap to me at $5K. He's got that upside where they just need his scoring. I mean, look at this team. They don't have scoring. They need him to score the ball. So I'm good with this game. I mean, a bunch of pieces from here. My favorites for sure are Chris Paul and Bridges. I think they both have shown upside in the last couple weeks. And Baisley, I like that as a little 2-1 tournament stack, all pretty low owned too.
Title, what do you got? I can't stay out of this chat. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Boys, title, what do you got for us?
Yeah, they are funny today. I'm not gonna lie, but on FanDuel, Phoenix is underpriced. I think Cam Johnson's 4,600, Mikal Bridges 5,400, Jay Crowder 4,800, Chris Paul 7,400. Those aren't the sexiest names or the sexiest plays, but they open up a lot of stuff. I mean, that's a lot of value right there that feels underpriced. So I think that makes sense. And on DraftKings, they feel a little underpriced too with Johnson, Bridges, Crowder. Ayton's a better play on DraftKings than he is on FanDuel. He's 7,300 where he's 8,300 on FanDuel. So I would add him in the mix too. But Phoenix seems underpriced on both sides to me, and I like that team. I'll probably have at least two guys in tournaments. Make a rule with two Phoenix guys in tournaments because they always seem to come under owned because they're just not the sexiest names that people want. So I like Phoenix today.
Yeah, a lot of usage to go around without Booker. All right, we have the Mavs, we have the Jazz, 220.5 total. Jazz favored by 2.5 on a back-to-back. The one piece of big news that we did already get, Donovan Mitchell is out. It's a big boost to a lot of guys. I mean, Conley, Ingles, Bojan, Jordan Clarkson gets a really big boost. I imagine he'll be popular. On the Mavs side, shouldn't be much ownership. I mean, I don't know, where Luka comes into the conversation, but I think he's definitely a guy that you need to consider basically any slate now. I mean, he has 80 fantasy point upside, which we saw the other night. It's a competitive game. That's kind of all you want. He's at the point now where you want him in games that are going to be competitive. I don't think his ownership is going to be all that high, but the Jazz guys will be relatively popular with the news that we got a Mitchell out. Tony, does anyone on this Jazz side kind of stand out more so than the other?
Yeah, I mean, I think Clarkson definitely sticks out the most to me. 59, 53. They need his scoring without Mitchell in there. He definitely sticks out. To go with Conley, and then another just terrible play to me is Joe Ingles. He's going to end up getting a lot of traction because obviously everyone sees Mitchell out. I just don't – for me, just in my head, I always have these things in my head watching the games. Conley and Ingles correlate. If Conley's out, I love Ingles. If Mitchell's out, I think that it goes more with Clarkson just because it's scoring, it's distributing. They kind of correlate like that for me. So for me, I'm going to go Clarkson way over a guy like Ingles, but I think Ingles will be popular. I definitely want some Conley too because he's been good. Bojan's more in play. Basically, all these guys, even Royce O'Neal is more in play to me with Mitchell out. So I think all these guys are definitely in play against Dallas. The issue for me with Dallas, Luka's finally priced up 11.5, 10.9. He's up in there now. He's up there pretty good ways where I still like him, especially if I'm playing the Utah guys as a run back. But I have a lot harder time playing Luka at 11.5 than I did for 10.5, like where he's been for the most part. So I'm good with that, I guess. I don't see any other Dallas guys.
Yeah. Title, what do you got here?
Only Dallas guy of interest is Luka, and that's only on DraftKings just because of his price. So, but then, Utah, they're going to be popular for sure. Ingles on DraftKings stands out 4,200, 4,800 on FanDuel, still definitely in play. Clarkson's a better play on FanDuel where it's 5,300, but again, perfectly in play on DraftKings. How I approach that is I would go in tournaments. I'd play the opposite guy on the sites where you think they're going to be more popular. So Ingles on FanDuel, Clarkson on DraftKings, because they come in a little lower owned and they're still the good plays. Conley, Gobert just had a monster game yesterday. And then Bojan and Bogdanovic. I don't have as much interest in him. I'm going to stick with Ingles, Conley, Gobert, and Clarkson and just run it with that. I mean, they're going to need to take over most of the usage without Mitchell. So it's hard to get away from it's hard to get away and play none of these guys because they are mispriced.
Yeah.
Don't forget about my boy Boban. You said it. I mean, going against Gobert, again, I don't like it as much as the other night, but he's going to play against Gobert. I wouldn't be surprised if he got a little run. If he does good, maybe he catches extra run.
No, I said Bojan. I meant Bojan.
I heard Boban. I was excited. Like how Hoop keeps hearing Stanley Steamer. I just hear Boban.
I got Steamer.
You're the Boban whisperer.
I got Steamer. I mean, you're a gluten for. I mean, you're loving this punishment. I mean, you're going to recommend Boban again. I mean,
no, I'm not recommending him. I just said don't forget about him. He's not. No, not today.
All right. One last game. If you guys want these plays at the end, we need more likes. You got to hit the likes. you got to hit the subscribe button. We got the workbench play, and then we have titles play. So hit the like. You have one more game to get it done. The more likes we get, the better. That's all I'm saying. All right. We have the Timberwolves. We have the Warriors, 230 total. Golden State favored by 8.5, and this game is a run back from the other night, and the Warriors smashed them. The difference tonight, it looks like Russell will be back. Curry still has a good price tag on DK. I think Draymond, I mean, that is another guy you made fun of me about the other night. Let's see what happened. Yeah, he's fine. 30 minutes, got 24 fantasy points. He's at the Draymond.
Oh, yeah. He was terrible again.
Yeah, but, I mean, he got there. He did good enough.
We have a different definition of getting there.
No, I mean, for cash games, he got there. Not for you. For my people, he got there. For your people, he didn't get there. How about that? Deal? Yeah. All right. But, Curry has a good price on DK. I think he's in play on both sides. Kelly Oubre, I continue to really like, his role with this team and getting that run in the second rotation. Title, I'll go to you first. What's your interest level in this game?
I see. Is D-Russ questionable? That's what I see. Or is he?
Yeah. I think, he's still questionable. I guess I was kind of just assuming he was going to come back and play. Right. But, yeah, officially questionable.
Yeah. So, that obviously that's the last game of the night too. So you can't really bank on anything because there's other good plays. So I just didn't know if it was questionable or not. But Steph Curry's way too cheap on DraftKings, still at 9,300. He's 9,600 on FanDuel, so he's still in play. But he'll have his way just like he did last game against this team. When he wants to score, he can score on these guys. Draymond Green, he's fine on FanDuel. He's still 4,900. He gets you stuff. Kelly Oubre is 5,800. Naz Reid's 5,000 on FanDuel. So I think those guys are in play. On DraftKings, if Looney gets a spot start again, he's only 3K. I expect him to get action. I'd rather go Looney than I would that Giles guy or Gilles. I can't even remember that guy's name on Washington anymore. That's how much I'd rather Looney. But Oubre again. Anthony Edwards is another one at 4,500 on DraftKings. I always talk about him just because he comes in on the second unit and he just chucks the ball. Good player, shoots a ton, and I have interest anytime those guys. There are guys like that because they always come in very low owned too because people don't like playing bench players like Big T always talks about. So It's not a cash play. Anthony Edwards probably won't be a cash play until he starts for a while, but he's always a tournament play, and 4,500 is a good price tag.
Tony, what do you got here?
So first of all, Steph, I mean, this is why people like watching our shows because I give you guys give the takes with the just rock solid plays. I kind of give a different take, and I think people like that. I just think Steph Curry's a little broke with how teams are defending him. The other day, he got you 51, which you need, but the dude went 7 for 12 from 3 to get it. He played 34 minutes. I think he's broken. And this is why I get made fun of too when I'm wrong, because I take strong stances and I go with it. And when I'm wrong and he gets hot and crushes, then everyone laughs at me and blah, blah, blah. But I just don't see how you can play Curry right now. I don't see it. He looks broken with how these teams, they're running doubles at him. They're just pressuring him. They're making other guys beat him. And I just don't like it. I don't see a 70-point game ever coming from him right now with the way teams are defending him. Yeah, maybe he goes 7 for 12 from the arc again and you get 50. But with all these studs on the slate, I just you can play like a De'Aaron Fox in that lower range, Chris Paul. I can't pay in the 9Ks for Curry. I'd rather play the guys Wiggins and Oubre and even Draymond, the guys he has to pass to. I don't want to play Draymond, but he's 4,900, so whatever. If you want to play him, you can play him. But Wiggins and Oubre, I mean, Wiggins the other night goes for 47 in this same matchup. Again, revenge week, right? Minnesota. He's got to have at least a little feelings towards Minnesota. Coming off of 47, if they keep doubling Curry, who gets it? Oubre with open shots, Wiggins with open shots. I'm going to pivot to those guys, fade Curry, take my chances. And I mean, if Curry beats me, he beats me. That's how teams are defending him right now. If he goes 7 for 12, 8 for 13, that's fine. He might beat me. And then the Minnesota side, this is one of these spots where if you're playing 3 teams, just backload a team and you got all these late guys. If the news hits right, all of a sudden Ricky Rubio is unowned in a really good spot. He didn't crush the other day, but solid spot in this same thing. Beasley, This is just a perfect backloaded game. You never know on a 12-game slate. One thing we need to talk about, last night a game got canceled. I say this every time we do a show. All of a sudden, if you're sitting there 2 hours after lock and the certain news hits, you are going to be so happy that you backloaded one of your teams and you got a full different roster. I just think there's a ton of value. Just ignore the early plays. Backload one team, not all your teams, just one, just to see what happens and just give you a different roster construction.
Yeah. Love it. Sabonis is going to play, available to play tonight. So that's pretty big news that we just got out of the gate. So, it's not the greatest of games. I'll probably be off it. I think we kind of all agreed with that. All right. You guys did good with the likes. We're going to go to our plays before we get on here. And like I said, JSU and Holden taking you up to lock. So head on over to runpuresports.com. Check it out. Title. All right. We're going to you first with the first ever dry hump play of the day. What do you got for us?
Well, I hope this guy lives up to expectations, but I'm going with Andre Drummond in the revenge narrative tonight. No, I liked him before, even if Nance was going to play. I like him even more now. I think he has something against Detroit. Doesn't like him. He doesn't like Detroit. He'll show up for these games. When he puts in effort, he can go ham. So I'm even going to go a little farther. 2020 game for Andre Drummond tonight against his old team.
Love it. Love it. All right, Big T, we got you coming up with the workbench play of the day. What do you got for us?
So, I was down to a few of these early guys, just looking through some of the upside plays. Man, I don't have anything too crazy tonight. I was going to go with Drummond maybe. I still like Drummond. Maybe I will double down and just go with title on Drummond because I think he crushes. Basically, the two plays I like the most looking over all this are Drummond and Garland. I just think Garland is like a really good play. He's so cheap. If he gets back into that 35-minute mark, I'm going to double down, though. The first time ever, I'm going with title. I want Mr. Drummond. I want the 2020. We're getting in there together. We're going back-to-back on the bench. Let's go.
So the real question is, are we just dry humping on the bench, or are we doing the okay?
Title said they changed that recently, so we're
I don't know what that is.
Full motor.
Yeah, full motor. We're getting in there, full speed. All right, the guy that won the gear. It's the best comment of the day. I believe Tony read it. West Coast Gem comes in with, you guys went to high school before Instagram. These kids doing work bench for sure now. So I love that comment. I wish I had Instagram when I was in high school. Maybe things would have been a little bit different. Who the hell knows? But that's a great comment. Great conversation. A lot of fun today, guys. A lot of fun. I think we broke everything down really well. So for Title Town, for Big T, I'm Hoop. Good luck tonight in your contest. We'll be back tomorrow.
Good luck, everybody.